I walked into the kitchen early and froze. My husband was hunched over the farmhouse sink, sobbing so hard his shoulders shook, clutching his phone like a lifeline. He didn't hear me come in. Then, he choked out the words that stopped my heart cold. I can't keep lying to her, Mom. She deserves better than this. Apparently, finding your husband sobbing in the kitchen at 2 in the afternoon on a Tuesday isn't the plot twist you expect when you forget your laptop charger at home. My name is Natalie Bennett, and I'm about to tell you how walking through my own front door turned into the most absurd episode of a Real Housewives season I never auditioned for. Picture this: Oak Bridge, Connecticut. It's one of those aggressively perfect suburbs where everyone's lawn is exactly 2 inches high and the homeowners association fines you for breathing too loudly. I am 34 years old, married to Graham for 8 years. We have 2 kids, Leo, who is 7, and little Sophie, who is 4, and I work remotely as a digital marketing consultant, which basically means I'm invisible to my own family until someone needs me to fix the iPad. You know, sometimes I wonder if we build these perfect little lives just to hide the cracks in the foundation, plastering over our problems with granite countertops and Ivy League preschool applications. So there I was, pulling into the garage at the most inconvenient time possible, right in the middle of a workday, when I should have been at the downtown Starbucks in my deep work session, also known as browsing the Target website while pretending my oat milk latte justified the table space. I forgot my charger, a classic move. I tiptoed in through the mudroom because I didn't want to interrupt the important conference call Graham had mentioned that morning. That was when I heard it, crying. Not like a discreet, manly sniffle, but gut-wrenching sobs that shook his whole body, the kind that make your shoulders tremble and your breath hitch. I stood frozen. My husband, Mr. I Don't Show Emotion, the guy who didn't cry at our wedding or when our children were born, was falling apart in our kitchen and he was on the phone. I could hear every single word through the archway. I can't keep lying to her, Mom. She deserves better than this. Every time she looks at me with those trusting eyes, I want to die. I've been living a double life for 3 years, and I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. 3 years. I stood there, my Kate Spade bag slipping off my shoulder, keys jingling in my hand, feeling like I had just stepped into an alternate universe. The man I meal prepped for, the man I did laundry for, the man I was raising children with, the man I stayed up late talking to about our dreams and retirement plans. This man had an entire life I knew nothing about for 3 years. But here is the kicker, the part that really twisted the knife. He wasn't confessing to me. He was confessing to his mother, the mother-in-law I saw every Sunday for brunch, the woman who hugged me and called me daughter of my heart, the woman who babysat our children. This woman knew everything and never said a word during our mimosas while pretending to be my friend. Let me paint you the full picture of my spectacular life before it imploded. Graham worked as a regional sales director for a pharmaceutical company. Lots of travel: Phoenix, Denver, Austin, sometimes away 3 or 4 days a week. I never questioned it because, honestly, the man brought home good money, and I was able to build my consulting business from our home office, which overlooks our meticulously manicured backyard. We were living the suburban dream, right? The kind of life where you post perfectly filtered family photos at the pumpkin patch and everyone comments, "Goals," with heart eyes emojis. It makes you realize how curated our realities are, how we present this polished version of ourselves to the world, while the truth rots away quietly behind closed doors. Our house, a 4-bedroom colonial with the kind of open-concept kitchen featured in Better Homes and Gardens, white subway tile backsplash, marble countertops. That farmhouse sink everyone is obsessed with. Graham was standing right next to that sink, his 6-foot frame hunched over, the phone glued to his ear, completely oblivious that his wife was 15 feet away, listening to her entire marriage disintegrate in real time. I know, he said, his voice cracking. But Natalie is so good. She's such a good mother, such a good wife. She doesn't deserve to be lied to like this. And the kids? God, Mom, what am I supposed to tell Leo and Sophie? How do I explain that Daddy has been— He cut himself off with another sob. My mother-in-law's voice crackled through the speakerphone, loud enough for me to catch snippets. You need to think about what is best for everyone. You can't just blow it all up. Responsibilities, responsibilities. That is what she called whatever bomb he was about to drop on our family. Responsibilities. I should have stormed in right then. I should have announced my presence, demanded answers, thrown my laptop charger at his head for dramatic effect. But this is what 8 years of marriage to an emotionally unavailable man teaches you. Gather intel first, react later. So I stood there, barely breathing, while my husband continued his confession to the woman who clearly valued family secrets over family honesty. She thinks I'm going to Phoenix again next week, Graham continued, his voice steadier now. But I can't. I can't keep doing this. They deserve better too. All of them deserve better than me splitting myself in half. They, all of them. My brain started doing that thing where it replays every suspicious moment of the last 3 years and fast forward. The extra phone, which he said was for work. The sudden interest in business development opportunities in Arizona. The time he came home from a sales conference with a sunburn and sand in his luggage, claiming he'd squeezed in a quick round of golf. The way he showered immediately upon getting home from trips, as if he were washing away the evidence. Oh my God, I had married a walking cliché. My husband had a second family in Arizona. I didn't know for sure yet, not standing there in my mudroom, surrounded by the smell of detergent pods and the soft hum of our high-efficiency dryer. But my marketing brain, trained to detect patterns and predict consumer behavior, was already connecting the dots faster than a conspiracy theorist on Reddit. What am I supposed to do, Mom? Graham pleaded. If I tell Natalie, she'll leave. She'll take the kids. Her parents will kill me. Your friend's book club will never speak to you again. The whole neighborhood will know. There it was. His main concern wasn't our shattered marriage or our traumatized children. It was the social blowback, the neighborhood gossip, the fact that his mother might get side-eye at the Oak Bridge Community Center. Something cold and sharp crystallized in my chest at that moment. It wasn't heartbreak. That would come later, probably around 3 in the morning when I was stress-eating Halo Top and staring at our wedding photos. This was something else, something calculating. My mother-in-law, Victoria, responded with something I couldn't quite hear, but Graham laughed. He actually laughed through his tears. You're right, he said. You're always right. I just need more time to figure out how to handle this without destroying everything. Without destroying everything. As if our marriage wasn't already a total dumpster fire he'd been fueling for 3 years. I backed away slowly, carefully, like retreating from a crime scene. I grabbed my charger from the kitchen island where I'd left it that morning, right next to Graham's favorite coffee mug that said, "World's Best Dad." The irony was not lost on me. I made it to my car without making a sound. Years of tiptoeing around sleeping babies finally paid off in the most depressing way possible. Sitting in my Subaru Outback, because of course I drove a Subaru, I was a Connecticut mom, they practically issued you one at the hospital when Leo was born. I looked at my reflection in the rearview mirror. The same hazel eyes, the same auburn hair I'd been meaning to get highlighted for 3 months. The same face I'd seen every morning while brushing my teeth next to my lying husband. Except now that face knew something it didn't know 20 minutes ago. My phone buzzed, a text from Graham. Hey, honey, conference call is running long. Might grab lunch out. Love you. Love you? I actually laughed out loud, like a crazy person in my car. The kind of laugh that would make a passerby think I was having a mental breakdown, which was a fair assessment. I didn't reply to his text. Instead, I went back to Starbucks, ordered an absurdly expensive cold brew, opened my laptop, and did what any self-respecting digital marketing consultant does when her life implodes. I started researching the costs of private investigators in Connecticut. Average divorce lawyer retainers, first meeting free. Interesting. Arizona marriage records, public information, advanced Facebook search functions. Now we are talking. Graham thought he had more time. He thought he could control the narrative, manage the fallout, protect everyone's precious reputations. But here is the thing about being married to someone in digital marketing. We don't just understand exposure, we design it. We know exactly how to craft a story, when to release information for maximum impact, and how to turn a personal disaster into a viral moment people can't look away from. 3 years, he said. 3 years of lies. Well, buckle up, Graham, because I have 8 years of digital marketing experience, access to all our joint accounts, a mother-in-law who is about to learn what going viral really means, and a very particular set of skills I'm about to use to turn our next family gathering into the most memorable event Oakbridge has ever seen. Mother's Day was in 6 weeks. The perfect timing. Nothing says Happy Mother's Day, Mom, like exposing her role in her son's double life in front of the entire family, with receipts, screenshots, and a PowerPoint presentation I was already mentally designing. Because if there is one thing I've learned in 8 years of marriage, it's that the truth always comes out. I just decided it would come out on my schedule, with my narrative, and with a full audience, including whatever second family he'd been hiding in Phoenix that he thought I'd never find. Spoiler alert, I was about to find out everything, and I was going to make sure everyone else did too. Turns out, playing detective on your own husband is significantly less glamorous than Netflix makes you believe, but infinitely more satisfying when you have a Costco-sized box of patience and a subscription to about 14 different data search platforms. Let me tell you about the next 72 hours of my life, which I've affectionately dubbed The Awakening, or how I became a forensic accountant without even trying. First stop, our joint bank account. You know, the one Graham insisted we keep for transparency and partnership. Hilarious. I pulled 3 years of statements on my laptop while sitting in our bedroom, the same bedroom where he'd kissed me goodbye that very morning with a smile that should have won him an Oscar. March 2022, $847 charged to a jewelry store in Scottsdale. He told me it was a thank you gift for a client. The necklace I got for our anniversary that year? Amazon Prime, $62. It arrived 2 days late. July 2022, $2,340 to a furniture store in Tempe. Office setup for the new regional branch, he had said. Apparently, he was buying furniture for his other life. September 2022, $438 to a pediatric office in Phoenix. Reimbursable medical expense for a colleague's family emergency, he had explained. Looking me straight in the eye, I literally helped this man file that expense report. The charges continued. Children's clothing stores, a Phoenix elementary school, grocery stores in Arizona, a regular monthly payment of $2,800 to something called Desert View Properties, LLC. My husband wasn't just having an affair. He was paying rent. He had a whole separate household budget. I did the math right there on our bed. Over 3 years, Graham had funneled approximately $127,000 of our joint money into his life in Arizona. Our joint money. The money I helped earn while building my consulting business, managing our home, raising our children, and apparently funding my own betrayal, like some sort of voluntary sponsorship program for infidelity. Wednesday morning arrived with aggressive suburban cheer. I packed Leo's lunch, turkey sandwich, apple slices, organic fruit snacks, while Graham sat at our kitchen island looking at his phone. "Coffee is fresh," I said brightly, pouring him a cup in that world's best dad mug. "Thanks, babe." He didn't even look up. "I have that trip to Phoenix next week, remember? Tuesday through Friday." "Oh, right. The big client pitch." "Yeah, the Peterson account. Make or break situation." The Peterson account. I'd heard about it for 2 years. I listened to him practice presentations. I offered suggestions. The Peterson account that I was 98% sure didn't exist. "Well, you'll crush it like always," I said, kissing his cheek. "I believe in you." The look of guilt that flickered across his face almost made me feel bad. Almost. Then I remembered the $127,000. After Graham left, I dropped the kids at school and did something decisive. I called a private investigator. His name was Marcus Flynn, and his website looked like it was designed in 2003, which somehow made him seem more legitimate. We met at a Panera Bread in the next town over because nothing says, "my life is falling apart," like discussing your husband's infidelity over a bread bowl. Marcus was about 55. Graying beard, kind eyes that had probably seen every variation of human betrayal. "Arizona," he said. He tapped his pen against his notebook after I explained everything. And you have enough financial records to wallpaper your house. I slid a manila folder across the table. Marcus flipped through the pages, his eyebrows climbing higher and higher. Mrs. Bennet, I'm not going to lie to you. This isn't subtle. Your husband is either incredibly arrogant or incredibly stupid. Can it be both? I laughed dryly. I can have preliminary findings in a week, full report in 2, but based on what you're showing me, he pointed to the pediatrician charge, we aren't just talking about an affair. This is a whole separate family. How much for the full workup? $3,500 retainer. I'll track his movements, verify the Arizona address, document everything so it's legally admissible. I pulled out our joint credit card. The irony wasn't lost on either of us as I handed it to him. Let's call it a business expense. Matrimonial dissolution consultation. That night, Graham came home at his usual time, kissed me hello, played with the kids, and asked what was for dinner like a normal Tuesday. We ate spaghetti and discussed Leo's upcoming soccer game and whether Sophie was ready for swim lessons. You seem happy today, Graham observed. Good day at work? Really productive, actually. I smiled across the table. Landed a new client. Big project. Could be very lucrative. This wasn't technically a lie. Marcus Flynn was absolutely a new client, and the project of destroying my husband's carefully constructed double life was definitely going to be lucrative for my divorce lawyer. Friday night wine night rolled around, and I showed up at Jennifer Landry's house with 2 bottles of rosé and the performance of a lifetime. 8 women from our neighborhood, all gathered in Jennifer's spotless living room. So, Natalie, Marla Mitchell started, already on her second glass. How is Graham's travel schedule? I can't imagine what you have to put up with. Oh, you know, we manage. He is so dedicated to his job, so committed to providing for for us. No one noticed the slip. Must be hard, though, Jennifer added. All that time apart. You don't worry about, I trust Graham completely, I said. He would never do anything to jeopardize our family. He is too worried about what people would think. His mother would kill him if he ever embarrassed the family name. This brought knowing chuckles. Oakbridge was the kind of place where your reputation mattered more than your actual character. Speaking of mothers, I continued casually, are you all coming to the big Mother's Day brunch at the country club? Graham's mom is hosting this year. She's invited everyone, and I mean everyone. Wouldn't miss it, Jennifer said. Oh, this one is going to be especially memorable, I promised. I'm even putting together a special presentation. A tribute to family, honesty, and the importance of transparency in relationships. They all thought I was talking about a sweet slideshow of family photos. I wasn't. By the time Marcus called me the following Wednesday, I was braced for anything, or so I thought. Mrs. Bennet, you're going to want to sit down for this. I was in my car, having just dropped the kids at school. Give it to me. Your husband has been maintaining a residence in Scottsdale, Arizona for 3 years and 2 months. A 3-bedroom house in a suburb called Desert Hills. He is listed as the primary leaseholder. Okay, breathe. And he lives there with a woman named Kelsey Winters, 31 years old, elementary school teacher. They have 2 children together, a daughter who just turned 3 and a son who is 8 months old. The world tilted. 3 years. He had gotten her pregnant around the same time Sophie was born. Mrs. Bennet, are you still there? Yes, go on. He is listed as the father on both birth certificates, uses his real name, his real social security number. He isn't even trying to hide it legally. He is just banking on you never checking. What else? Kelsey Winters thinks he is her only family. Based on social media, which she doesn't keep private, she posts about him constantly. My amazing fiancé, the father of my babies, all that. She has no idea you exist. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. Sitting in the elementary school parking lot, laughing like a maniac, while Marcus detailed my husband's double life. There is more, Marcus said carefully. His mother knows. I've documented 3 separate visits she's made to the Arizona house in the last 2 years. She's met the kids. There are photos, of course. Sunday brunches where she smiled at me and praised my casserole while knowing her son had another family, while knowing her other grandchildren existed. It's a special kind of betrayal when it comes from another woman. especially one who claims to love you like a daughter. It makes you question every compliment, every hug, every shared moment. Send it all to me, I said, my voice steady now, cold. Every photo, every document, every receipt. Already compiled. Mrs. Bennet, I gotta ask, what do you plan to do with this? I watched a stream of perfectly dressed mothers walk past my car. I'm going to tell the truth, Marcus. At the most public, family-oriented event I can think of. I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly who Graham Bennet really is. Good, Marcus said. He deserves it. After we hung up, I sat there reading Marcus's report. Photos of Graham pushing a stroller in a Phoenix park. Graham at a playground with a little girl who had his eyes. Graham at a grocery store with Kelsey, his hand on her pregnant belly. My phone buzzed. A text from Graham. Miss you and the kids. Phoenix is boring without you guys. Can't wait to be home. I replied, we miss you too. Can't wait for Mother's Day. Your mom is so excited about the brunch. It is going to be unforgettable. Unforgettable. That was one way to put it. You know what is funny about discovering your husband's secret family? The logistics. I mean, how does one maintain two completely separate lives without accidentally calling his Arizona kid by his Connecticut kid's name? Does he have a spreadsheet? Because honestly, I struggled to keep track of one family, and this man was running two, like some sort of demented circus performer. The week after Marcus's report arrived, I did something that surprised even me. I called Kelsey Winters. Not to scream at her. She didn't know I existed, which technically made her a victim just as much as me. No, I called because I needed intel, and sometimes the best way to get intel is to just ask for it while pretending to be someone else. Hello? Her voice was younger than I expected, cheerful. Hi, Kelsey Winters. I used my professional voice. This is Jennifer Morrison from Family Circle magazine. We are doing a feature on modern families and work-life balance, and your name came up as someone doing amazing things as an educator and a mom. Oh, that is so flattering. Thank you. We would love to include your story. Can you tell me a little about your family situation? Sure. I have a fiancé, Graham Bennet, and two kids. He is a pharmaceutical sales director. He travels a lot for work, but he is amazing when he is home. So hands-on with our kids. I was taking notes, my hand steady despite the surreal horror. That is wonderful. And how long have you been together? 3 years in June. We met at a conference in Phoenix. Total whirlwind romance. He was going through such a hard time. He had just lost his previous family in a tragic accident. He was dealing with so much grief, but we helped each other heal. You know? I almost dropped the phone. Lost his previous family in a tragic accident. He had killed us. He had literally murdered me and our children in his Arizona narrative, so he could play the grieving widower finding love again. That is such a beautiful story of resilience, I managed to say. And has his family been supportive? Oh my God, his mother is an angel. She was so worried about him after the accident, and she has told me how grateful she is that I brought joy back into his life. She comes to visit from Connecticut several times a year. The sweetest woman. The sweetest woman. My mother-in-law hadn't just gone along with the lie. She had actively participated in it. She had looked into another woman's eyes and perpetuated the story that her son's actual, living wife and children were dead. One last question. Doing anything special for Mother's Day? Actually, yes. Graham is flying back early from his business trip in Connecticut to surprise me. We are doing lunch at a beautiful restaurant in Scottsdale. His mom can't make it. She has some family commitment back east, but it will be just our little family. Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. After hanging up, I sat at my kitchen table and realized the full scope of what he had done. He hadn't just cheated. He had erased us narratively. In Arizona, we were dead. In Connecticut, they didn't exist. He had created two completely separate realities, and he was the only person living in both worlds. It was actually kind of impressive in the most horrific way possible. My phone rang. Him, calling from Phoenix. Hey babe, just checking in. How are my girls? My girls. As if Sophie and I were his Connecticut collection, and he had a separate Arizona set. We are great. Sophie drew you a picture today. She misses her daddy. I miss her too. I miss all of you. When are you coming home? Friday night. Late, though. My flight doesn't land until 10. Interesting, because according to Kelsey, he was flying back to Phoenix early to surprise her for Mother's Day weekend, which meant he planned to tell me he was in Phoenix while actually being in Phoenix, but for a completely different family. Can't wait, I said sweetly. Oh, and your mom called. She is so hyped about the Mother's Day brunch on Sunday. The whole family is coming, even your Aunt Patricia from Vermont. It is going to be huge. A pause. This Sunday? Yeah, May 12th. Your mom has it at the country club from 11 to 3. You didn't forget, did you? No, of course not. Just might have to adjust my flight. It is really important to your mom. She specifically said she wants all her children and grandchildren there. All of them, right? Yeah, I'll figure it out. Within 10 minutes, my mother-in-law called. Natalie, dear, just spoke to Graham. He mentioned something about having the whole family together. Oh, yes. I know how important family is to you, Victoria. All your grandchildren in one place. Should be special. A long pause. Yes, very special. I'll see you Sunday, dear. The beautiful thing about being a digital marketing consultant is that I know how to build a deck. I know how to craft a narrative for maximum engagement. I know exactly how to structure information so your audience stays hooked from the first slide to the final call to action. So that is what I did. I spent the next 3 days building the most comprehensive, visually stunning, and emotionally devastating PowerPoint presentation of my career. Marcus had given me everything: photos, bank statements, property records, birth certificates, social media screenshots. I organized it chronologically, starting with the first suspicious charge 3 years ago and ending with a photo from Kelsey's Instagram from 2 days ago. Graham holding his 8-month-old son, captioned, "My Whole World." The presentation was titled, The Bennett Family, a comprehensive timeline of love, lies, and real estate investment in the greater Phoenix area. Subtitle, A Mother's Day Tribute. Friday night, Graham got home at 10:30, looking exhausted from his flight. He kissed me, hugged the kids, and collapsed on the couch. Long trip? You have no idea. Just glad to be home. Well, you are going to love Sunday. Your mom has everything organized with Catherine. She even hired a photographer. Great, he said weakly. I'm doing a little presentation too. Just some family photos, memories. Your mom loved the idea. He went pale. Actually pale. You talked to my mom about a presentation? Of course. She is the guest of honor. Don't worry, nothing embarrassing, just celebrating family. Honesty. The importance of knowing your roots. I smiled. All your roots. Saturday. I got my hair done. Highlights. Finally. Full blowout. Bought a new dress. Royal blue, fitted, professional, but with definite, I'm about to burn my entire life to the ground energy. I also hired my own photographer and videographer. If I was going to expose my husband's double life in front of 75 extended family members, I was going to document every second of it. Sunday morning arrived with absurdly perfect weather. 72 degrees, sunny, the kind of day that screams, nothing bad could ever happen. I helped Leo into his button-down shirt and Sophie into her floral dress. Graham put on slacks and a blazer, checking himself in the mirror multiple times. He looked like he was going to throw up. You okay? Fine, just tired. The drive to the Oak Bridge Country Club took 12 minutes. 12 minutes of Graham checking his phone obsessively, his leg bouncing. I'd never seen him this nervous. Good. The country club was decked out exactly how Victoria liked it. Tasteful floral centerpieces, white linens, classical music playing softly. The extended family was already filing in. Aunt Patricia, Cousin Derek and his brood, my parents, my sister. Victoria presided over the center table in lavender silk and her signature pearls. There is my son. She hugged Graham, then turned to me. And the lovely Natalie. Thanks, Victoria. I have the presentation ready to go whenever you want me to do it. Presentation? Aunt Patricia perked up. How lovely! Just a little tribute to the family. Victoria specifically asked for it, about the importance of honesty and transparency in family relationships. Right, Victoria? My mother-in-law's smile froze. Yes, of course. Wonderful. I've coordinated with the AV guy. It's all set up. I was thinking right after the main course before dessert. Really give everyone time to digest. I paused. The food, I mean, and the information. Graham grabbed my elbow. Natalie, can I talk to you? Sure, honey. I let him lead me to a quiet corner. His face was white. What are you doing? Celebrating your mother on Mother's Day with a presentation about family. Our family. All of it? Natalie, do you know Kelsey Winters thinks we are dead? That is the story you told her. Tragic accident. She thinks you are a grieving widower who found love again. Very romantic, except for the part where I am very much alive and standing in front of you. He couldn't speak. Don't worry, I'm not going to make a scene. I'm just going to tell the truth, show some photos, share some bank statements, let everyone know about your impressive commitment to family. Both families, your 4 children. You can't. Can I? And I will. The deck is already loaded. The photographer is here. I even sent a courtesy invite to Kelsey, though she probably won't come since she thinks you are surprising her in Scottsdale right now. Graham looked like he might actually faint. Now, let's go back out there and enjoy lunch. Your mother worked very hard on this event. I patted his cheek. Smile, honey. You are on camera. Here is the thing about revenge. Everyone pictures it as this explosive, dramatic moment, like throwing a drink in someone's face or storming out with a perfectly scripted speech. But real revenge, the kind that actually destroys someone, is methodical. It is patient. It is a PowerPoint presentation with proper citations and a Q&A session at the end. Lunch started exactly as planned. The country club staff brought out the first course. Some fancy eggs Benedict that probably cost more per plate than my first car. Everyone chatted, laughed, compliments flew about Victoria's organizing skills. Graham sat next to me, radiating anxiety like a nuclear reactor about to melt down. He barely touched his food. Every few minutes his phone buzzed and he'd look at it with mounting panic. I knew exactly who was texting him. Kelsey, wondering where her surprise was. You should eat, I whispered. You'll need your strength. His hand shook as he reached for his water glass. Victoria stood up, dinging her champagne flute. Everyone, thank you so much for coming. It means the world to me to have all my loved ones here together. All her loved ones. I wondered if she was counting the 2 grandkids in Arizona that half the room didn't know existed. Before the main course, Victoria continued, my wonderful daughter-in-law, Natalie, has prepared a special presentation. The AV guy had already set up the projector. My laptop was plugged in and ready. I'd tested it 3 times that morning. Thanks, Victoria. I stood up, smoothing my royal blue dress, and walked to the front. 75 pairs of eyes followed me. My photographer, positioned in the corner, started filming. Graham looked like he was having a heart attack. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers here, I started. Today, I want to talk about something that has been on my mind. The importance of honesty in families, transparency, knowing the whole truth about the people we love. I clicked the clicker. First slide. Title, The Bennett Family, a comprehensive timeline of love, lies, and real estate investment in the greater Phoenix area. Some confused laughter. Someone thought it was a joke. Let's start with background. Click. Wedding photo of Graham and me. 8 years ago. Beautiful ceremony. No one suspected anything unusual. Click. Fast forward to March 2022. Graham made a purchase at a jewelry store in Scottsdale. Told me it was a client gift. Click again. Kelsey's Instagram showing her wearing the necklace. It wasn't for a client. The room went very, very quiet. Who is she? Someone asked. This is Kelsey Winters, 31 elementary school teacher from Scottsdale, Arizona. And these are her children. I turned to look at Graham. Actually, these are our children, Graham's children. Let me introduce you to your extended family. Victoria made a choked sound. My mother's fork clattered onto her plate. This is Harper, age 3, conceived around the same time Sophie was born, and Mason, age 8 months. 2 kids in Arizona, 2 in Connecticut. Very efficient family planning. Aunt Patricia covered her mouth. Now, how does one maintain 2 families? Great question. Click. Spreadsheet of charges. Over 3 years, Graham spent approximately $127,000 of our joint funds on his life in Arizona. Rent, groceries, pediatrician visits. A very involved father, just for 2 families who didn't know about each other. Natalie, stop this, hissed Victoria. Oh, Victoria, we just got to your part. Click. Photos of Victoria at the Arizona house. Did everyone know Victoria has been visiting her other grandchildren regularly? She has met Harper and Mason multiple times while we thought she was at book club. The room erupted. People were talking over each other, gasping, demanding explanations. There is more. Graham told Kelsey his first family died in a tragic accident. That is me, Leo, and Sophie. We are dead in his Arizona story. He has been playing the grieving widower. Oh my God! Someone whispered. Graham finally found his voice. Natalie, please. Please what? Please stop telling the truth? Please stop showing bank statements? My voice had risen. I took a breath. Here is my favorite part. Click. Text messages. Graham texting Kelsey, love you, can't wait to be home, while sitting in our Connecticut living room. Leo looked up from his iPad. Daddy, do I have other brothers? The room went dead silent. Yes, baby, I said softly. You have a sister named Harper and a brother named Mason in Arizona. Daddy was going to tell us eventually, right, Graham? Graham stood up, knocking his chair over. I need to explain. Go ahead. I gestured to the floor. The stage is yours. He looked around at 75 faces staring at him with shock, disgust, and anger. His mother was weeping. My father was being physically restrained by my brother-in-law. Graham started. I made mistakes. Mistakes is forgetting to buy milk. This is a sustained deception involving 2 states, 2 families, and $127,000 in embezzled marital funds. His phone buzzed loudly. That is probably Kelsey, I said. She is waiting for you in Scottsdale. Should we conference her in? Make this a full family reunion? You are insane, Victoria spat. You are destroying this family. I am destroying this family? Victoria, your son created a second family and you helped him hide it. You looked me in the eye every Sunday knowing about Harper and Mason. You are the emergency contact at Mason's pediatrician. Those kids deserve a grandmother. So do Leo and Sophie. They deserve a father who doesn't split himself in half. They deserve a grandmother who doesn't lie. They deserve better than this gaslighting situation you both created. Sophie started crying. The sound cut through everything. I immediately went to her, picking her up. It is okay, baby. Why? Why is everyone yelling? Because sometimes adults do very hurtful things, and other adults have to decide whether to stay quiet or tell the truth. And I decided to tell the truth. My mother came over to take Sophie. We are taking the kids outside. After they left, I turned back. I want a divorce. My lawyer will be in touch tomorrow. I'll be petitioning for full custody, which should be straightforward given the circumstances. The house is in both names, but considering you've been maintaining a second residence with marital funds, I am confident. You can't, Graham started. Can't I? I have documentation of everything. 3 years of financial records, photos, social media posts, birth certificates, a private investigator's report that your company's HR department would be very interested in. By the way, his face went white. You wouldn't dare. Your company has a morality clause. I checked. Pretty sure a secret second family funded by company time counts. Aunt Patricia spoke up. Good for you, Natalie. Take him for every penny. Several family members murmured in agreement. You are tearing this family apart, Victoria wailed. No, Victoria. Graham tore it apart 3 years ago. I'm just showing everyone the wreckage. I looked around the room. I'm sorry your Mother's Day got hijacked, but if we are celebrating Mother's Day today, we should be honest about which children we are celebrating. All of them. I walked back to my seat, unplugged my laptop. Dad, can you drive the kids home? I need to go somewhere. Where? Arizona. Kelsey Winters deserves to know the truth too, and Harper and Mason deserve to know their father isn't a widower. He is just a coward. I walked out of that country club with my head high, my laptop tucked under my arm, and my marriage in ashes. Behind me, I could hear the chaos erupting, family members yelling at Graham, at Victoria, at each other. My photographer followed me out. Mrs. Bennett, I got everything. Perfect. Send me all the files for the divorce proceedings. I paused. And maybe send a copy to Victoria. She loves family photos. In my car, I pulled up Kelsey's Facebook, new post from 10 minutes ago. Still waiting for my surprise. He must be planning something extra special. I commented, "Hi, Kelsey. This is Natalie Bennett, Graham's wife. We need to talk. I'm booking a flight to Phoenix right now. Check your DMs." Then I called the airline. 2 hours later, I was on a plane to Arizona with my evidence files, my righteous anger, and a bottle of airport wine. Graham's world was burning in Connecticut, and I was about to make sure it burned in Arizona, too. Because if there is one thing I learned from 8 years of marriage to a liar, it is that the truth is always better than a comfortable fiction, even when the truth is absolutely devastating. Especially then. Here is what no one tells you about blowing up your entire life in front of 75 people at a country club brunch. The aftermath is weirdly quiet. You expect sirens or dramatic music, but instead, it is just you on a plane to Phoenix sipping mediocre Chardonnay out of a plastic cup, wondering if you've completely lost your mind. Spoiler alert, I hadn't, but I was definitely operating on a level of clarity that only comes from sustained betrayal and 3 years of gaslighting. Kelsey was waiting at baggage claim at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport with a stroller, Mason, and a toddler holding her hand. Harper, my husband's other daughter. She looked younger than 31, tired, scared. She looked at me like I was a ghost, which, in her reality, I was. I was supposed to be dead. "Natalie?" Her voice cracked. I showed her our wedding photo, then a recent family photo from Leo's soccer game. Graham, me, both kids, all smiling. Kelsey made a sound like she'd been punched. "He told me you died," she whispered. "Car accident. He showed me obituaries." She stopped. "Oh my God, he forged them." Over the next hour in that airport, I laid it all out for Kelsey. She held Mason the whole time, crying occasionally, laughing occasionally in that incredulous way that means you've gone past shock. "His mother knows," I said. "She has met your kids, attended Mason's christening." Victoria looked me in the eye and told me how grateful she was that I brought joy back into Graham's life after his tragedy. Kelsey's voice hardened. "She has been in our house 3 times. She has brunch with me every Sunday," I said. Never said a word. We sat in silence. 2 women played by the same man and the same mother-in-law. "What are you going to do?" Kelsey finally asked. "Divorce. Take him to the cleaners. Protect my kids." I paused. "What about you?" "I don't know. We aren't married. I don't have a claim to anything." She looked down at Mason. "I feel so stupid." "Don't. You were manipulated by a pro, but you should talk to a lawyer. Child support, custody. He is the father whether he likes it or not." 3 months later, I was signing the final divorce papers. Graham had been fired after HR got involved. Turns out, using company funds to maintain a secret family violated several policies. He was currently in a studio apartment in Hartford trying to figure out how to pay child support to 2 families. Victoria wasn't speaking to me, which was the best gift she'd ever given me. She had been ostracized by half the extended family and kicked out of her book club. I kept the house, full custody of Leo and Sophie. My lawyer had been ruthless. The kids were in therapy. Leo was angry. Sophie was confused but resilient. We had FaceTimed with Harper and Mason twice. Kelsey and I had developed a weird friendship born of shared trauma. My consulting business had exploded. Turns out, woman who exposes husband's double life via PowerPoint is pure gold for viral marketing. I'd been interviewed on 3 podcasts, and my client list had tripled. I had also started dating again. Nothing serious, just remembering what it felt like to talk to someone who didn't require a lie detector test. Signing those papers, I felt light. Not happy exactly, but free. Like I had been carrying a weight I didn't know was there. "How do you feel?" my lawyer asked. "Like I won the lottery and got hit by a bus," I said. "Complicated." That evening, I picked up the kids. We got takeout, chicken nuggets, their choice, and sat on our back deck watching the sunset. "Mom," Leo asked, "are you sad about Dad?" I considered it carefully. I am sad about the situation. I am sad he made choices that hurt us, but I am not sad about knowing the truth. The truth is always better than a lie, even when it is really hard, even when the truth is that Daddy had a whole other family, especially then. Because now we make real choices based on real information. We don't have to live in a lie anymore. Sophie piped up. Can Harper and Mason come visit? My heart squeezed. Maybe someday, honey. I hope so, she said. I always wanted more siblings. Kids go straight to the heart of things. Later, after they were asleep, I sat in my home office and opened a new document. Title: Lessons from a Double Life, What I Learned from My Husband's Secret Family. Lesson 1. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Lesson 2. Financial transparency is not optional. Joint accounts mean joint oversight. Lesson 3. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Lesson 4. Your mother-in-law is not always your friend. Lesson 5. Sometimes the only way out is through, and sometimes through means a PowerPoint at a country club lunch. Lesson 6. The truth is always worth it, even when it costs everything. I leaned back and started to laugh, the kind that starts in your belly and works its way up. Part relief, part disbelief, part genuine humor at the absurdity of human behavior. My husband had maintained 2 families for 3 years. I had exposed both of them in front of 75 people while wearing a killer dress. Kelsey and I had bonded over mutual betrayal, and Graham had lost everything because of his own spectacular stupidity. It was the craziest thing that had ever happened to me. And I had survived. More than survived. I had won. Not in the revenge is sweet way, though that PowerPoint had been satisfying, but in the I know exactly who I am and what I deserve way. In the my children will grow up knowing their mother chose truth over comfort way. In the I will never settle for being half known again way. My phone buzzed. Marcus Flynn, my private investigator. Natalie, I got another client. Similar situation. Wants to expose her husband publicly. Asked if I knew anyone who had done it successfully. You want me to consult on someone else's revenge plan? Is that not weird? I thought about Kelsey, about my kids, about every woman who had been gaslit and made to feel crazy for trusting her instincts. Actually, that sounds perfect, because silence protects the wrong people. The truth, even the devastating truth, is the only way forward. And if I can help someone else find her way through the lies, seems like a pretty good use of my hard-earned expertise. I'm warning you, Marcus said. Her situation makes yours look simple. Her husband has 3 families in 3 different countries. Okay, that is impressive in a horrible way. I sat up straighter. Tell her she is going to need more than one PowerPoint. I hung up and smiled. Not because what happened to me was good, or right, or fair, but because I had survived it. I had faced it head on, refused to stay silent, and come out the other side stronger. Graham had thought he could have it all. 2 families, 2 lives, no consequences. He had bet on my silence, on my desire to keep up appearances, on the suburban pressure to keep things nice and tidy. He had bet on the wrong woman, and that, more than anything else, was exactly how it was supposed to be. The truth will set you free. It will also blow up your entire life, traumatize your kids, and destroy relationships with your extended family. But you know what? It is still worth it. Every single time. This is a work of fiction, of course, just a story about dignity, boundaries, and the inevitable consequences of our choices, woven from the threads of everyday suburban nightmares.